Welcome to the Think Factory podcast. We got one question for you. What keeps you up at night?
German Sacristan from Keypoint Intelligence. And German is the group director of digital printing production services for Keypoint. So welcome to the podcast, German.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, this is great. So just a little bit of background for folks that might listen. Keypoint Intelligence is devoted to really understanding the print business and the packaging industry and talking to operators in the industry to collect information about experiences and economics, et cetera. I don't want to spoil your thunder, so I'll let you get specific about it, German. But one of the reasons I think what you are seeing and what you have to say today is some industry observations about the market based on all the intelligence that you've been able to put together from real operators.
Right. I mean, it's not only operators. We've been in the market over 60 years. We do market research and consultancy all over the world. We have offices headquarters is in New Jersey in the US, but we have offices in the UK and Japan. So we cover the whole world. Very focused on the printing industry, like you said. And it's all about market research and consultancy. And when we do market research, we not only talk to operators, we talk to many players in the supply chain from print buyers. That actually is the reason why we are all here, because somebody wants to print something. Going through the print service providers and the vendors, the manufacturers, software people, all of that. We have different practices based on different applications, printing applications, packaging and labels, like you said. We have production, no more commercial, production, publishing, transactional, workflow, wide formats. I think customer communication. We also talk to the big brands about direct mail and transactional stuff. And textile. I knew that I was forgetting one, textile. And we have an office side, so we have other things, and we diversifying and getting other products too. But yeah, very focused on the printing industry in general. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like you're covering it end to end, especially when you talk about textiles, which is one of the exciting things I see.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a big opportunity for digital, obviously. The shift from analog to digital is pretty much everywhere, because the shorter runs, on-demand printing and that type of thing, regardless of the application, is very powerful. And of course, everybody knows personalization, customization, all these type of things. Yeah,
for sure. So let's take sort of a high level look at the market. Maybe looking back a little bit at 2023, but maybe more importantly is taking a look ahead at 2024 and beyond. So if you had to summarize it in a couple of sentences, what would you say there? What do you see the market doing next year?
Well, I'm focusing more on commercial applications, only because I'm the principal analyst of that practice. And on top of that, I'm the director of all the other practices. So my area of expertise are more on the commercial printing side. And what we see is just obviously print is slightly declining. Nobody's going to deny that. But at the same time, digital printing is growing. Our forecast shows that it's growing. We see in a shift of print volume consolidation from smaller production printers all the way to larger production, faster printers with lower running cost. That in other words, they have a chance to shift more volumes from offset to digital because the crossover points work a little bit better on these higher productions. So we're seeing that. The internet has accelerated that trend. Obviously, more people now are comfortable buying print online, and then they don't go so often or not as often to some of these print franchises or copy centers, even though some of them are still very successful. And then when you go online, then you see the big online printers, the Vista prints, the Uprinting, all of these four overs for the tray, that type of printers. And then yes, print volumes are shifting from smaller establishments to bigger establishments, and therefore to bigger printing equipment that way. So we seen that. We see also a trend a little bit on the outsourcing. Imagine the uncertainty that you might have if you are a smaller printer and you have a capital investment and you don't know, you need some volumes every month to pay for that type of equipment. A lot of uncertainty, and now there are some big printers for the trade that they sell very aggressively, very good pricing. And then I hear it. Some printers, they say sometimes I outsource. It's even cheaper for me to outsource than producing myself. It's lower risk. So a little bit of outsourcing trends there, but in general, most of the printers, they want to own their own equipment, and that way, provide value with what they have. So we see in all that at the printing print service provider level, then their customers, the print buyers, we see that obviously the share is more digital marketing, electronic marketing. The budgets are more on that side. Probably 75% of the budgets are on e-marketing versus print, probably 25%. But they still want print. They still think that in some of our surveys that print is flat, not really declining. So print is still bringing a lot of value to those marketeers and communicators to promote their brands, their products, and that type of thing. So yeah.
So when you put aside some of the large franchise organizations with smaller print shops, and you talk about the typical local print shop that does a lot of different things, maybe some signs, maybe some letterhead, maybe some other business forms, etc. You're seeing fewer and fewer of those.
Right.
Meanwhile, people are getting more comfortable with some of the online providers and the bigger print houses.
Right. I mean, there are some franchises that are very strong, like Minimum Press and Sarah Speedy, all these guys that they've been there for a long time. Also, Staples and FedEx, they're very, very strong. We see those ones like Staples and FedEx that they also have large production centers where they centralize their production, and that makes a lot of sense. Maybe economy of scale, they have bigger, larger equipment, more volumes, lower costs, that type of thing. Nothing new. I think that we've seen these many years ago in the photo industry when you used to go to Target and there were all these mini labs and you were where you film and come back in an hour and whatever. And now you go to this place and they have a small desktop printer for some walk-up customers, but for the most part, they outsource it or centralize it somewhere else to reduce costs. We're seeing that trend also on the commercial printing side. But they're very strong brands. Yes, we perceive less traffic going through some of those, but they also have online presence like a Staple and FedEx, and they're trying to help the customers online too. On the other side, we hear all the print franchises that these smaller franchises, they're focusing on printing products that they have, if you wish, larger profits like wide formats, no, more specialty printing products, not so much commoditized. When it comes down to business cards or whatever, not that they don't do this, but that's for the most part probably tighter margin, and then even we heard that some of them are outsourcing this type of commodity print, but they focus more on a specialty wide format, and is where the value is. That's what we're seeing in the market. Yeah.
And again, maybe focusing on some of the smaller shops, are you still seeing consolidation in the market? I know there's certainly going on, but are you seeing it at the same rate that you saw over the last 2 years?
In terms of number of establishments, to be honest, we were expecting that it will be reduced, but what we see is that those numbers are holding up. Some of these print franchises actually they claiming growth, revenue growth, also by acquiring new print service providers under that franchisee with they help them with the marketing and other things. So no, less than we would have thought, at that level.
There still seems to be a ton of private equity interest in printing and packaging companies. Are you seeing that interest that we see, and is it consistent with some of the other market indicators that you're finding?
Yeah, that we don't research that much. But yes, high level, we see a little bit of that also on the photo side of printing too. Yes, it's not one of our strengths in terms of what we research the most. But yes, we try to keep an eye on the source as much as we can, right? The reasons why we are all here, the marketeers, the print buyers, to see what are the purchasing trends, if they think that print is growing or declining, what type of applications. And yeah, it's very interesting to see that even though it's still at 25% print, there's some applications that they feel that they're growing or they expect it to grow, like direct mail, depending on the industries, retail things, that brochures will grow, catalogs will grow. And then every survey is different, right? Then you do another survey maybe with the bigger brands, and then you see that they expect that print will decline more. But we just did a recent one not long ago. The average employee size was around 150 employees with 1 million budgets on marketing, and those actually, that type of companies, actually they were saying that even though print, they think that will be flat, not declining, but actually some applications like direct mail and catalogs to actually be growing. So that's great news for print, and definitely great news for digital printing, because when we ask them about the most common run lengths of those catalogs and direct mail and things like that, brochures, they all within the crossover point between offset and digital. So that's what we see, more of a shift going to digital. That trend keeps going as obviously short runs are getting shorter. Offset plates costs raised, and paper also cost went up, and the paper waste is not good for the offset and that type of thing, and hard to find labor operators for offset, which is a high skill type of job, and digital a little bit easier. So we're seeing an acceleration on the digital printing side versus offset too, even though offset still has the majority of print volumes in the marketplace. The bigger PSPs, corporations, they print more offset than digital, longer runs, and some of these online printers, they do a lot of ganging on a shorter runs on offset presses. That doesn't help digital, but digital doing well in general too. So we see that too.
Do you see the transformation sharper in certain segments, like packaging versus commercial print?
No, it's a trend. Obviously, commercial print has been, the influence of digital printing on commercial print is been over 2 decades. It's other applications, they a little bit behind that, but yeah, the trend is strong. It makes a lot of sense, as print on demand, and shorter runs and more targeted communication, regardless what you're doing, more testing and that type of thing. So yeah, we see it even on the textile too, a big opportunity there. I mean, imagine that if you are a brand, a designer, that you gotta design your clothing right now, and then it might take a few months and you have to stock up all that, and if it doesn't sell, it doesn't work. Digital printing, obviously you print on demand, you test the design, if it works well, if it doesn't, it's just more flexibility in general, regardless if it's textile, if it's commercial, if it's labels and packaging. Yeah, very good value, very good value. And still, if you think that this is a digital world, and in some of these applications like commercial, offset probably is still maybe 80-85% of the print volumes. Depending on who you're talking to, there will be different numbers, but very high level. And that's probably because the inks of offset, they are so inexpensive. The price is so much lower than the digital, even inkjet, and that is keeping the volumes strong in offset, even though they need plates and they need this and that. And but for a very long run, the gasoline on that press, the ink is gonna be much lower, and that's why I believe personally that the offset is still very strong because of that. Where in other industries they are 100% digital, the analog it doesn't really exist anymore. So
Right. Do you find new entrants to the market still thinking about an offset investment, or are they going completely digital as they enter?
I think that depending on the company, but I was interviewing a couple of print service providers that they were telling me actually when this offset press dies, that's it. I'm going to invest more on digital printing. I don't want to fight with the big offset houses and full size B1 size presses that is all about price. I'd rather to focus on the shorter runs, on the specialty printing. These digital printing presses do a very good job. The productivity is, I mean, some of these presses, they're very fast too. The uptime is great and all of that. So yeah, we've seen a lot of that. Not really maybe investing in offset or whatever, but some PSPs and a strategy to slowly moving into digital 100%. Now that doesn't mean that even those digital printing guys that they are 100%
Right.
digital printing establishment, they might do offset jobs, but they will outsource it. So offset is still strong, but yeah, you see more and more some print service providers focusing on digital and trying to add more value and increase their profits. Yeah.
Right. And whether you talk about digital or offset, when we focus on the direct mail segment, direct mail saw, I think, a real resurgence during COVID. Where people are at home more often, et cetera. Now that we come out of COVID, what do you think the future for direct mail looks like, or what are the numbers suggesting?
Well, the direct mail in general seems to be declining now because of the shorter runs and personalization. Digital seems to be growing. Personally, if you ask me, if I was a marketeer, you cannot find a channel that has less competition than direct mail. If you think about it, the mailbox for a marketer has very little competition. Consumers, they receive 3, 4, 5 pieces of correspondence every day. You go and try to hit somebody via email or with banners or whatever, you just hit hundreds of thousands. So for me, direct mail is always going to be strong because for the marketeers, there's no competition, to be honest with you. Now, are they going to buy from you? Maybe no, but at least you have the opportunity to capture the people attention, because if you don't capture consumers' attention, you've got no chance. So at least that first objective, and that keeps marketers awake at night, is covered much better in that channel of the mailbox and direct mail. And then it's touch and feel, and then there's a lot of tricks to obviously, making something very good piece of mail that elevates the perception of value for the brand and for everything else. And then QR codes and things like that, they will send people to buy online or to watch a video, whatever. So to me, the power of direct mail is very strong, and I don't think that it definitely will never die, in my opinion. It's just the values are very strong, and like you said, more marketeers are being even more aware, even though we've been telling them this for like 2 decades, but now that they need to be more effective, they actually understand it. And if they create a good campaign, at the end of the day, it's not the printing piece, the direct mail, or the mailbox. It's just the marketing strategy. If their marketing strategy is not good, then it's not gonna work. But don't blame me on the mail. Don't blame me on the print. Don't blame me on anything like that. It's the strategy that didn't work. So that type of thing.
Well, the numbers are strong. The ROI on direct mail on a piece by piece basis is many times, at least from the numbers I've seen, many times higher than anything electronic. But what you also, to your point, is you got to have an omni-channel strategy in order to really be successful. So you can't do just one; you got to do them all.
Right. And that's the problem. In that recent survey that we did with marketeers in the US, also in Western Europe, it was a 25-25. They told us that yes, the majority did omni-channel, but only 25% of the omni-channel campaigns include the print. So there is a big opportunity for print to growing within those omni-channel campaigns and push the value of print there. And also, obviously, personalization, that is very powerful. Unfortunately, they were only 25% of the printing campaigns that were being personalized. So, again, it's just a lot of opportunity to keep growing because it hasn't been fully utilized. The value of print as a complement to other channels, and then customization, which is the most holistic and organic way of communicating. Well before print, well before TV, radio, whatever. Thousands of years ago, we were personalizing and promoting one-on-one, in a face-to-face, in a customized way. So it's just a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, and just the I don't know, just the staying power of the printed work. So long as it's sharp and it's interesting, unique. I hope it continues to be to grow, because to your point, if you're gonna stand out, you can't do any better than direct mail for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing, you can capture the attention of somebody, but then if you don't tell them something relevant or helpful, then that's it. It's all wasted. So it's unfortunately, it doesn't stop with just a nice printing piece. You got to go all the way to being relevant and then make it easier for people to buy. And there's different strategies to go through that process. And printers, they need to understand how their products and services link into that marketing objectives within a campaign, and just offer based on that, and then things work a little better.
For sure. And Herman, in terms of the 2024 and beyond, what do you see are some of the headwinds that that would face, or that printers would face, as well as equipment manufacturers? And I wonder whether they're the same or whether they might differ a bit.
I mean, we see obviously inkjet keep growing because the simplicity, the uptime, and all of that. At the same time, electrophotography is still very strong, especially on the B2 size. I mean, HP Indigo is still doing very well on that B2 size, better than inkjet B2. Also, it seemed to be a reason where some of the inkjet B2s, some of the customers said, well, I wish this machine will do duplexing and it doesn't do it. I wish this machine will do that and it doesn't do it, or whatever, or the perception or whatever. So even though inkjet very strong, supposed to grow, but very strong, but then it's having a little bit of a bump, not growing, but not as fast, especially on the large production. Obviously, roll fed, absolutely yes, but on the cut sheet, electrophotography and mainly HP is just working hard there to stop inkjets growing as fast, that kind of thing. But eventually, what we see is that inkjet obviously will dominate because it has to, and it dominates in many areas already. Before was the holdback of the quality. The quality is there, is fantastic quality from some of these vendors. Productivity is amazing, and again, uptimes, which is part of the productivity, and lower cost too, depending on the area coverage. The cost is also could be lower too. So that's what we see in inkjet. A lot of print volume consolidation, like I said, to larger production. Like in many commoditized markets, and I'm not saying that print is a commodity, it's not a commodity to me, but it's perceived as a commodity by some. So, but in those type of industries, you see also consolidation at the print service provider level. The bigger guys get bigger, especially the online guys, they get bigger, and you see that they're growing. And the smaller guys, they struggle. But another good thing these days is sustainability and localization is very important. Some of these bigger guys might be interested to purchase the smaller guys and print locally. And if we get hit with another problem with supply chains and all of that, they print and produce right there and serve right there in that market. So there's a couple of things that we keep an eye on. We don't know 100% what's going to happen, but definitely inkjet. Definitely a print volume consolidation, online being very, very strong, and basically, personalization hopefully will get better and better. It's already growing, and print Print in general declining because of offset, but digital printing growing. So that's how we see it.
Gotcha. And to sum it up, Herman, for certainly for 24 and maybe even past 2024, would you describe the climate among the print industry as optimistic or cautious or something else?
I would use the word opportunistic more than optimistic. I mean, I've seen print service providers that have grown 100%, even others that through COVID they've grown. I mean, it's up to you, really. At the end of the day, it's up to you. Yes, printing in general declines, but there's a lot of print service providers that they're growing. They providing a good service. They talking a strategy with their customers. They linking their service and product, like I say, to their marketing objectives and everything else, and growing. But yes, in not everybody is gonna be growing, obviously, because it's a market that overall, because of the offset, is overall perhaps declining. But tons of opportunities and tons of opportunities to keep pushing personalization to grow, and omni-channels, the print part of the omni-channel to grow, and the power of the mailbox and the books, print on demand, and no stock up and no warehousing and things like that. It's just, honestly, there's so much opportunity that I only see opportunity now. It's opportunity for everybody, every single one. I don't know, but there's plenty of opportunity for anybody that want, that is kind of like strategic enough to grab it.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Calling it opportunistic. I'll give you one more question, Herman. So, if I'm a commercial printer and I'm doing a little bit of everything or a little bit of a few things, if I had to, assuming that I could get a sales force to sell what I'm making, where would you think I should put my money? Digital printing, obviously, that's where the investment is. But which market segments do you think are going to grow the most?
Well, the typical ones, right? The retail, hospitality, telecommunication, all these ones, finance, insurance. I think that for the most part, all of these, anybody that needs to convince somebody to buy something is gonna need print, right? So for me, the trick is to invest in the right technology, also automation, very important, but also invest in the people. I think that the people are the ones that is going to make the difference. Obviously, people buy from people, but I've seen many times that the ones that are very successful, the ones that grow the most, the ones that they charge the most for the print, sometimes very large profits, depending on the campaign and the products. It comes from the people. It's just the people that strategically enough goes and sells the value to that customer, and again, it links the service to that customer's objectives, marketing objectives. That we've been talking about this for many years, but still print service providers, many of them struggle to link the manufacturing finished piece of print to that marketing campaign, that type of thing. So that's what I see. Just invest on the people, invest on the talent and the technology, invest on the people, especially the sales, the consulting people. Those ones I've seen that they make a difference.
All great advice, Herman, and a lot of great advice in a pretty short amount of time, I have to say. So this was fantastic. So I loved how we ended up, which was opportunistic. Well, kind of almost rhymes, but with optimistic. But I guess we'll say there's optimism, but you're gonna have to work for it a little bit, right?
Absolutely, and that's great. The sun is shining here in North Carolina, and it's a lot of opportunity out there. I see all over the place.
Well, I like the optimistic tone from you for sure. So that's fantastic.
I think.
Well, thanks for joining us today. This is a good listen for folks that are looking to do some planning and thinking for 2024 for sure. Whether you're on the PSP side or whether you might be a customer thinking about how to market products and services. So, thanks for sharing the insight.
Thank you.
Herman, where can potential clients of yours find Keypoint Intelligence?
Well, Keypoint Intelligence are online. If you just obviously Google Keypoint Intelligence, one word, you will get to the website, and then you can reach out to us via the website.
Terrific. Well, Herman, thank you so much for joining us today on the Think Factory podcast. German Sacristan from Keypoint Intelligence, again, providing some really terrific insights that are, based on a lot of data and a lot of conversations. So thank you so much for
Absolutely.
sharing and providing everybody with a little bit of guidance.
Thank you, Chris.
And this is Chris Santamassimo again from the Think Factory podcast. We'll see you next time.